Hola desde Ecuador. Hello from Ecuador. I'm actually on an extended trip right now, but in this video I'm going to be going over some lower extremity anatomy or leg area anatomy in Spanish. So I've done a video, I think I did a video that covered this previously, but I definitely didn't include all of the terms that I'm going to include today. So there's a few other things that we'll cover, a few more specific things versus what I've shared previously. All right, so I'm going to say each term in English first, and then I'll pause long enough for you to think about what the translation would be, and then I'll say it a couple times in Spanish. And ideally, you should be saying it out loud in Spanish each time, because the hardest part about learning a new language is talking. It's much easier to understand and read and so forth, but talking is the hardest part, so try to get as much practice with that as you can. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first term, as you might guess, is leg. So how do you say leg or the leg in Spanish? La pierna. La pierna. So every time we say a term, we're going to say the in Spanish, because in Spanish you almost always say the before body parts. So you should just get used to using el or la or los or las. So try to figure out which one it is each time. All right, so the next term is hip. La cadera. La cadera. Next is buttocks, but not exactly buttocks. This is going to be a pretty formal way of saying it. Los glúteos. Los glúteos. So obviously that's like saying glutes in English, but that's maybe the best way to say buttocks in Spanish. All right, next is thigh. How do you say thigh in Spanish? El muslo. El muslo. Knee. La rodilla. La rodilla. Notice the second time I kind of trilled that R. Normally you do trill the R at the beginning of a word in Spanish, but optional if you're still working on that. All right, next is kneecap. La rótula. La rótula. Shin, how do you say shin in Spanish? La espinilla. La espinilla. Calf. La pantorrilla. La pantorrilla. Ankle. El tobillo. El tobillo. Or right now, since I'm in South America, some people say el tobillo. Like they change the double L or the Y to the zh. But most of the time in the United States, you're not going to hear it that way. All right, so the next one I believe is foot. How do you say foot in Spanish? El pie. El pie. Heel, the heel of the foot. El talón. El talón. Arch, the arch of the foot. El arco del pie. El arco del pie. And notice I put del pie in parentheses because it just depends. If you're kind of pointing at their foot when you say it, obviously you wouldn't need to say del pie. but it just depends on the context. Just like in English, a lot of times people know from the context what you're talking about. All right, what about forefoot? La punta del pie. La punta del pie. And toes. Toes is the same word as fingers because it kind of means like digits. Los dedos. Los dedos. Quick pronunciation tip. Don't say los dedos because then you sound like a gringo. But you say los dedos, dedos, dedos. And it's a little softer, more like a TH, especially in the middle of the word. All right, and last term, big toe. El dedo gordo. El dedo gordo, which means the fat toe. So just like we say large intestine, they say thick intestine. We say big toe, they say fat toe. You get the idea, because it all kind of means the same thing. It's just what you get used to. All right, so I've got a playlist that goes over a lot of these other little anatomical, little videos, little lessons on anatomy in Spanish, and another playlist here for you about basic Spanish. And there's another playlist I'll list down below that goes over a bunch of medical Spanish dialogues as well. All right, so check those out if you're interested, and I'll see you in the next video.